seek light, a beacon of presence and prosperity, has an aura of unwavering optimism. At the today, I'm lighting the lamp. Thank you, dignitaries. I request Reddy Sir to welcome the speaker, Mr. Sagar. Thank you, sir. DEN has reached unprecedented heights in the field of education. It is an intellectual destination that draws inspired students from more than 53 countries to India, Silicon Valley, which has been established with the aim to provide quality education and strength and development by the NIRF has received graded autonomy state University Grants Commission, and the grant has been awarded based on the National Assessment and Accreditation Council's A++ grade with a CGPA of 3.71. Also received an accreditation from the NBA, certified ISO for quality, numerous achievements. Ones that highlight our mark are hosting Halo India in 2021, standing
Mr. A. Sagar is a multidisciplinary in the true sense of the term. He learned under finest guidance of greatest philosophers, scientists, educationalists on this planet, along with many years of teaching experience in colleges, universities, and schools. He even gained a postgraduate degree in English while he was in India. Later, his passion for research took him to the University of Edinburgh, wherein he pursued MSc in Education and Educational Philosophy. That's where he was formally introduced to analytic philosophy. After completion of his MSc in Edinburgh, he moved to London and joined the prestigious University College London, UCL. It stands first in the World University ranking for research in the Department of Education. He studied philosophy of science, social science, and humanities at UCL and started his research in education and human minds. His wide and depth of knowledge spanning across education, philosophy, linguistics, history, economics, politics, biology, formal language, dentistry, and medicine, latest of all, technology and ethics, automata, theory, Chomsky hierarchy, AI, machine learning, deep learning chatbots like ChatGPT, Replica, ELSA, ChatSonic, and other chatbots. Multidisciplinary approaches to learning, English literature, research methods, as well as methodologies in various disciplines, Internet of Things, biomedicine, neural signal processing, deep learning, cognitive neuroscience, neuroeconomics, political philosophy, climate change, design thinking, jurisprudence, journalism and media studies, and social network analysis, volatility of free market, economic meltdown, skills for entrepreneurial pursuits, NEP, soft skills, engineering, and foreign policy is just fascinating. His energetic as well as inspiring lectures and training workshops are quite renowned. His critical and rational analysis of research problems are thought-provoking. Being well known for his wit and humor, he's always dearly loved by his students. So far, Sir has delivered around 800 lectures around the world by invitation on various topics from academic spectrum of science, social science, humanities, in various institutions as well as universities. Sir has addressed more than 6 lakh students and faculties till date. He appeared in various television interviews and also trained government officials, police officers, and conducted corporate training programs. In his training workshops for teachers, professors, principals, parents, academicians, officials, and policymakers, Sir tries his best to raise awareness among them. He's a national level basketball player, and he also uses sports as a medium to inspire students while coaching. He usually says that he gained a lot of his energy, courage, and confidence. He knows. So today, pre-conference research that we'll be delighted with your enlightening knowledge. Please, I hand over that for the workshop.
This is, am I audible now? Yes, lovely. Thank you very much. The topic I have for today, as might have been mentioned before, is axiological epistemological foundations as well as ontological foundations for publications. I think any research, if you have proper foundations, go a long way. But unfortunately, there are a lot of obstacles and a lot of different forms of pressures building up now, where you're said publish or perish and all these kinds of things, where you're compelled to publish things, compelled to do a PhD. To people who don't really love research or who don't really want to publish, are forced to publish things and are forced to do research, forced to do their PhDs, not because they wanted to be a doctor. Maybe the title was fancy, or because we are in a very uncomfortable situation where I don't have to go through it in detail. You know what happens every time a government institution announces PhD seats, what kind of mad rush will be there, what kind of things people have to do to get a PhD seat. All these things are quite evident. I don't want to start another controversy here by making a statement, especially because it's going on live on YouTube. That's why I told Sachin, don't put my talks live on YouTube. No one has recorded my talk. I'm not let anyone do it. I completed a master's degree and I went abroad, and as soon as I went there, they asked me, Sagar, what is your epistemological position? I said, what position? I said, I don't know, because they were talking about all these different isms and different ologies. I'm from Karnataka. I said it's Gothilology because I didn't know. Nobody had taught us many questions. Ask these questions in the Viva because you book the Viva. You book your 3 guides to come and award you the degree, not to ask cross questions. So can complete in the they want to complete it as soon as possible. So that's why it's never asked. Let's talk about that in my top movie. Just like how we tell students, mobile phones will be confiscated, used in the classroom. Okay, so you enter the real world, you complete your degree, you enter the real world, and they say, what real world skills do you have? We have a lot of exams. We have preparatory exams, we have pre-preparatory exams. So many tests and exams, and parents are so trained to do that. Parents, because it's a dignity issue, they say 10th standard, turning point. Morning one tuition, evening another tuition. Whatever ingenuity, passion, enthusiasm, courage you had, it will go there. You know, have you seen a sugarcane machine? That's exactly what it is. 10th standard, they'll put the sugarcane into the machine once. Remove all these special qualities that you had as a child, you know, curious about the world. Have you seen children? You know, they look at you with such curious, wonderful eyes. So much curiosity, like, wow, this guy is huge. I'm so tiny. And they have so much curiosity. The older we go, we realize what we can't do, especially after getting married. You realize what all you can't do. So we know, in research, we call it historic burden. We call it historic burden. So used to knowing what we can't do, what doesn't work, because nobody goes into the Vice Chancellor's chamber and asks, how much did you pay to get this position? Will you ask? Everybody knows it's evident, but nobody asks this question, you know, because it's controversial. We self-censor. So sugarcane goes into the machine in 10th standard, then comes to PUC. Depends where you're studying. If you're studying in IB, then it's A-levels, IB diploma. Otherwise, it's PUC if you study in local schools. So as soon as you come to second PUC, that's a bigger turning point. Morning 2 tuitions, evening 3 tuitions. I'm a faculty. It's a question of my dignity. Sugarcane, put lime into the middle, they'll put it once again. Whatever little ingenuity you had about original ideas, they'll take it out there. Then it will come to a degree, come to CMS. Here there will be orientation program. They'll tell you this is not PUC. This is degree. If you add your internal marks will be cut. 3 years again, the sugarcane goes into the same machine. There they go. UG. This is watching you. Fewer students here. Okay, again 2 years sugarcane goes into the machine. And then finally it comes to PhD. By then it will be Pachadi. Whatever little originality was left, as soon as you come to PhD, you have to find a guide. Swami Devane, where are you? Will you write or should I write? I have no research idea. Should I give you a TV, refrigerator? What should I give you? I just want to be a doctor. And then you have to identify a knowledge gap in PhD and try to fill that knowledge gap with original ideas. Forget filling it. If you find a knowledge gap, that's a great discovery. But many times we don't do it. We try to find synonyms. That's why Shodh-Ganga and Turnitin have come now. All the past PhDs, if we take and push it down, turn it in, how many things will turn upside down? I don't know. Because we always try to find synonyms and pass it through. I'm sure you've read the research articles which have come in. Let's talk about the quality of research that we have been doing. How do we know it? Look at the original research index. Where do we stand? And still how long, how far we have to go still. We have a long way to go. So this thing, with the system which has structured us and brought us here till now, has put in so many, if you are really challenging, really asking questions, you end up in principal's office with parents. The learning behavioral tendencies has problems. So they're real rebels. Those people like, as I tell my favorite in the last bench, the most notorious in the class. Anything you tell them, any evidence you give, they'll say, the most important research question they'll ask, they'll say, why? Why? First benchers are teachers' pets. As soon as you get it, shall I hold your bag? Shall I come with you? Anytime you call me, I'll be ready to help. That humility of the first bench should go to last bench, and the last bench nature should come to the first bench. But most dangerous ones are in the middle row. We call it, in English, we call it sitting on the fence. I don't know where you heard it. It was a history of United States of America. History from people's perspective, not from kings and queens' perspective. I hope you understand. If king wins the war and comes back, they'll be singing praises of kings. Whereas a widow who sent her husband to war and he never came back, history is very different from her perspective. So he wrote the US. He didn't know where he was when he arrived. Even after being there, he didn't know whom he was talking to. He called them Indians. And even after coming back, he didn't know where he had been. He was totally lost. So we have to read that. Howard Zinn has written another book called You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train. People who say they are neutral, says you can't be neutral on a moving train. Things are going in a particular direction in society. Either jump in and try to bring in changes. If you are passive, if you're not doing it, then you're complicit with whatever is happening. We call it quasi-consent. Okay, if a strong person is bullying someone tiny, you're supporting the powerful. Okay, that's something very important. So this exchange offer should happen in the class to keep research alive. Forget Nobel Prizes. Still a long way to go. I'll come to that as well. But our students end up doing this. What real world skills do you have? KTM 390 I can write. I can do, for example, sir, do you know what is Blackpink? How many of you know what is Blackpink? Younger, know what is Blackpink. Blackpink, I thought was color. That's a Korean pop band.
Yeah.
And our young girls love it. If you want to talk to young girls from the age of 15 to 20, you should know these. They have their own army, sir. It's called BTS Army. I thought it was Indian Army. So the generation gap is so much, we don't know what our students speak. If you open their Instagram, you only find Korean language, and parents are proud. My daughter learned Korean. She didn't learn Korean. She fell in love with the Korean pop band. That's what's happening. Students are saying, I got airdrop in the class and we are looking up where is the airdrop. You see the gap. I say, you got offended. But I'm a vegetarian. That's a game which got the whole country crazy. Students murdered their parents for money, for PUBG. And we don't know the language. So do you see the gap? It's very interesting if I go to a teacher and ask, based on what educational philosophy are you teaching? Behaviorism, cognitivism, perennialism, idealism, what are you using? Most probably it will be Gotilism. 25 years here, sir, teaching. I'm not in the department of education. That's why when NAC, ABET and UGC suddenly came, they brought Bloom's revised taxonomy. Because after 50 years, they remembered. We are into education. We need an educational philosophy. But Bloom's revised taxonomy is 50 years old. But suddenly all the faculties are running towards, at least here probably it's okay, but if I go to other colleges, like pride when comes. Back in NBA comes, college is just people not just when they interview you, there's a lot of pressure, sir. 3,000 students, rich background. First bench, very intelligent, lot of cross questions they ask. Last bench, very notorious. They bring big cars, even police can't scan them. So a lot of pressure in CMS. Can you work under pressure? And they say, our faculty sir, you're like, yeah, sir, I full pressure. Full pressure. 3 months situation will be like this. Every 3 months faculty will be changing. Okay, so fresh perspectives are highly valued. If you want the rupee to come close to dollar and pound, we need to develop original ideas and export it. What we are doing now. Thank you for your I appreciate that. What we are doing now is an assembly plant. In China, Foxconn is stuck in India now. So we are standing there with the cutting player and screwdriver after degree from CMS. We are there to assemble. We are assembling it and selling it back, for which we get peanuts. Peanuts for assembling. Original ideas developing is not there. It's not there. It's quite shocking, quite unbelievable. But anyone who goes abroad gets it. Nobel Prize, our person, our heritage. He was born here. That's how we own ideas. But what about us? Look at this. A grandmother looking at a cat. She says, oh, the cat is so cute. Purring. When I pet the cat, it makes a purring sound. Have you ever pet a cat? No, sir. If cat goes by, we don't even cross. It's bad omen. And we study science for that matter. Grandmother pets a cat, purring sound. A veterinarian looks at the cat. Where shall I cut it off? Where is the closest access to the liver? How shall I find the closest access to the heart? Both have different perspectives. Both are right. Okay. But if someone can go into a different department and bring a fresh perspective, that gives a whole different dimension. For example, design thinking comes from civil engineering. And now everybody is taking design thinking and running design thinking workshop. Then next cat Murdoch cycle will come. So which one is that? If I tell everything now, they will keep it for next time. Design with like a relay. But these things are already there. The problem we are facing now is very different. When we were studying, sir, in school, there was something called library. Remember, sir? There you are saying, Makkale, books away. Library. In the past, if you found one book in relation to what you are researching, we used to be very lucky. Now, 1,008 is collected every 60 seconds. 1,800 terabyte of data is bombarded at you every 60 seconds. How does it translate to? 98,000 tweets, 695,000 status updates, and 11 million instant messages and 168 million emails sent every 60 seconds. 60 seconds, so much data is collected. So now in this new world order, people who control the data control the world. How many of you have heard about Cambridge Analytica scandal? Cambridge Analytica scandal. Get the data from wonderful. Say much data online, and they get such easy access. No, sir, we have cyber security. That's a joke, by the way. Yesterday's news, if you have read, Tesla was hacked by kids. Imagine what access CBI has. And what access FBI and other government organizations have. This is very different. Security is like, it's like saying, I've sent somebody to prison, crime is vanished. No, crime doesn't vanish just because you send people to prison. Because I train judges regularly, I know it. We always try to find solution. We have to eradicate crime. Just isolating the patients will not help. We have to find a solution for the problem. That's where we are stuck now. Because so much data is bombarded at us every 60 seconds, many of us, forget students, many of us who are doing research don't know what is fact and what is myth. What, sir? I know. We know very well. Let's have a small test, shall we? I was talking about social network analysis, a very interesting department. Today, I'll introduce you to a lot of different departments which you never hear in weddings. I haven't been to weddings. Weddings, some of the most dangerous places. Weddings, if you go to weddings, they're the most dangerous places. As soon as you enter, they'll ask you, they'll not talk about their children, they'll ask about your children. Your daughter is into medicine? Oh, she didn't get into medicine. Oh, very sorry, unfortunately. Is she into engineering? Not even engineering. Commerce? You say, no, not even commerce, then arts, as if somebody studying arts should commit suicide. No, that's how they ask. But if you study MA in English, there's a linguistics paper. Linguistics is the science of language. How come there is a science paper in arts department? And cognitive neurosciences, the topmost department in medicine, is using linguistics to develop better understanding regarding human brain/mind. So instead of scoring 99.9 like a crazy fellow, okay, literally going mad, and then paying 2 crore to get a MBBS seat, you could have paid 10,000, joined an MA, and entered medicine. But nobody told you this in wedding. So next time you enter weddings, I'll introduce you to departments you might have never heard about. As soon as these Anshama, Vanjakshama, Hasina Begum come to you and ask, what is your daughter studying? Tell them about departments they've never heard about. Start with the title itself. What is your son studying? Epistemology. What is your daughter studying? Ontology, metaphysics, axiology. They'll hit their head to the wall. They'll realize, let's stop asking about other people's children. Let's mind the business of our own. This is the way educated people forego the taboo in the society by raising such important questions. Let's say these things we know about these things. I won't take so much time about that. How we start usually, the foundation of the research which we always talk about is axiology. Axiology has 2 children, moral philosophy and ethics. Moral philosophy studies what is good. I used the word good in one of my research papers, and professor said, underlined it and asked me, Sagar, what is good? I said, look, I'm coming from a remote place in North Karnataka. I've come to Athens of the North, Edinburgh, Scotland. David Hume, Adam Smith, all these great scholars studied here. Charles Darwin was there, and you're asking me, what is good? I said, good is good. He said, go home and do some research. I came back, I typed what is good. I realized there's a whole department which studies what is good. Quite unbelievable. The department is called moral philosophy. Moral philosophy studies what is good, what is a good life. How can you say something is good as opposed to something else? Ethics does not study what is good. Every department has ethics. Business ethics is there. You go to science, there is ethics. They have to get ethics permission, ethics committee permission, especially neuroeconomics, which has come in now. If you want to do some research in neuroeconomics, even in business school, you need permission from ethics committee. So ethics does not study what is good. Ethics says you have so many options, which is better. All those options may not be good. What's the best example for? The best example for this is you go to vote in elections. You see the ballot paper. There are 10 candidates. All 10 are thieves. Whom should I vote for? San Kalla Yaru. You said who's the smallest thief? Who has committed smaller scam? That's ethics. All those 10 may not be good. 10, 15 may not be good. So axiology studies what is good. So they'll ask you, what is your axiological position? When they ask you, what do you mean? What do you value in your research which you're doing? What is your foundation based on which you're studying this? Okay, I'll go into detail regarding this. Then ontology. Ontology studies what exists. For example, I'm standing there. You exist, I can see you. Well, it's difficult to control, isn't it? Not to take a picture. Now at least we can sense what happens to students. It's so difficult for us to control. What I was telling is, when you say I have human mammalian visual system, I can see you, sir. You exist. Then I can say, look, sense organs take the message to the brain/mind. They interpret. How do you know your sense organs are telling the truth? You may be dreaming for all you know. There is a thought experiment for this. It is called brain in a vat. What is it called? Brain in a vat. These are important things. Next time you meet anyone, professor from any country, any reputed universities, you can talk about these things. You can't talk about Mangalagori Madhve there or Chitti for that matter. But these things you can talk. Okay, brain in a vat. Just type brain in a vat. You'll realize, my God, this is huge. And I didn't know about this. Brain in a vat. It's an important thought experiment. So how do you know I exist? You may be dreaming when I ask. You have no answers. No answers. We thought we knew everything. We were so arrogant because Burj Khalifa, connecting London, Paris from Eurostar. We did a lot of environmental engineering. So we thought we were very, very knowledgeable. We know everything. But then suddenly COVID-19 hit us. A small microorganism. And we were covering our faces, staying at home, hoping that we'll live and see tomorrow. Bodies will burn here and there. Our loved ones could not even make it. And online classes started. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, mute. This started. And most of the faculties took certificates in bags, gunny bags. So many online classes happened at that time that we remember. So what exists? How do you know it exists? What is your ontological position for your particular research? That's the foundation we have to work on. You have to think about it. Okay. And epistemology studies what is knowledge. There is a department which studies what is knowledge. To your shock and awe, I'll tell you, till date, there is no universally acceptable definition of what is knowledge. Gettier, a famous scientist, said that knowledge is justified through belief. He was also challenged. So till date, we don't have a universally acceptable definition of what is knowledge. Imagine if students come to know this. If they come to know, oh, you're teaching us, why we're imparting knowledge. Oh, very good. Can you define what is knowledge? No, if you open epistemological journals today, even today there'll be a discussion of knowledge is this, knowledge is not that. Okay, that's how difficult things are. That's why when I'm teaching, when I'm talking to faculty, so I always tell, don't go to the class and tell things as if it's written on stone. Amount of evidence is equal to amount of claim. Evidence changes, claims change. This paradigm shift has happened many times in the past. It may happen in the future as well. For example, remember they used to use corporal punishments in school? Do you remember those days? They used to hit us. In my school, they used to throw me. If they could, they'll catch. Otherwise, they would have just left me. That's how rigorous corporal punishments were. Suddenly, they stopped. Suddenly, after we left school, they stopped. And they came to the class suddenly and said, from now onwards, we should not be hitting children because it will have a deep impact on their psyche. Forget hitting children. Verbal abuse is also a form of violence. We should use magic words. Excuse me, please, sorry, thank you. I got terribly angry. I said, look, all these days you hit me up bashing black and blue. Suddenly research changed. New research from cognitive sciences, philosophy of mind and psychology. And suddenly you're saying we should not hit children, we should pamper them molecularly. What about me who went through all the abuse? Give me compensation or give me reservation. I need separate reservation for people who went through corporal punishments because you yourselves are telling it has an impact. So we have had impact. Think about these things, it will happen again. If things change, you have to go back to the class and suddenly say, students, whatever I thought all these days I taught you, it's totally incorrect. New research has come in about human nature. Syllabus change. So at that time, we should be on our feet. I told you in the past that things will change. Okay, now it has changed. That's okay. Otherwise, we'll be in a difficult situation. Then comes methodology and methods. But what we do, we start from methodology. We open a research onion diagram, oh, this is the methodology, and then we end up with methods, tool to collect data one way or another. Whether someone will collect, we'll collect, we don't know. There are organizations to collect data, there are organizations to write everything now. They'll call you, should I write your PhD? So these things are also there. So if you look at it, axiology, what do we value? Why do you value that? Why is this important? Because scientists are sometimes very sinister. Just because you're doing research doesn't mean you're very ethical. Did you know that they published research saying that smoking is good for pregnant women? They did it. MBA department played a major role there. In US, they published research saying that smoking is good for pregnant women in 60s. Don't take my word. Go look it up. It's very interesting. You'll find it very easily. Edward Bernays was the father of this public relations industry. Edward Bernays. They gave long cigarettes in the hand of women and made these models walk on New York High Street. The slogan was, if you're a free woman, you ought to smoke. If you're not smoking, you're not truly free. This was the slogan. I don't know how many people they put into the grave, but scientists supported them. That's why researchers, it's not what is said, it's what remains unsaid, it's very important. Have you heard research saying that beer is good for health? A glass of beer every day will keep you healthy. Have you heard? Many drunkards show it to you. Research. Yes, beer is very good for heart. What about liver? That's not part of my research. That remains unsaid. That's why it's so important to look at the subtle nuances. That's why we have these theories to keep us in place. It will be easily visible if you're trying to overcome those things. So we have to mention what is it that you actually value and why. And then we have what's out there to know. How can you say that, sir, it's easily visible? No, it's not. It's not. I'll give you an example. There's something called problem of perception. I'm wearing a trouser which looks black in color. To your eyes and my eyes, it's called human mammalian visual system. For our eyes, this trouser looks black. Honeybees don't look at the world the way you and I do. Honeybees look at the world in infrared. So for honeybees, this trouser looks different. For me, this trouser looks different. What about other species? If we can just prove what is the true color of the clothes that you're wearing now in nature, if you can just prove that, you will win a Nobel Prize. Oh, sir, I know it. Very good. Call me tomorrow. We'll publish it in international peer-reviewed academic journals. Defend the criticism. Take a tractor and go to Sweden and get the Nobel Prize home. Tomorrow itself we can do it. Just publish what is the true color of the clothes that you're wearing in nature. If there are anything called, is there anything called true color? Or is it all reflection? We don't know. Just count how many times today I will say we don't know. Okay, let's talk about that as well. Epistemology, as we said, can we know about anything? Why I'm saying this? There are a group of scientists who say that we can't know anything about the world. They are called Ferronian skeptics. Ferronian skeptics believe you can't actually know anything about the world around you. Why? Because sense organs play games, you can't actually know. Okay, next. Let us have a test, I told you. Bats are no internal marks, so don't worry. Relax. Bats are blind. What do you think?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, very good, sir. Thank you. It takes courage to give the first answer. Very good. Bats are blind. Do you agree? Very good. He said yes, so everyone said, after he said, we won't argue with him. Everyone said, they can't see, they can only use echolocation to hunt. Very good, man. I won't pursue the further question asking which peer-reviewed international academic journal did you refer to when you made that claim. Because as researchers, it's very important to us always to defend our claims by evidence. You can't say Wikipedia is also. Quora. Quora is just new Wikipedia. That's what students use to copy paste when you ask them to do presentations. So both Quora and Wikipedia we can't defend. Let's see what research has to say. Bats are not blind. All bats can see very clearly. All bats can see very clearly. In fact, there are fruit bats which prefer to use eyesight as opposed to echolocation. All bats can see very clearly. I've put the International Academic Research Journal, I've put a reference there. You can refer it. If you want, I'll send it to you. Please refer it. So what happened to the myth that bats are blind? It's not in the syllabus, sir. No, it's all right. I always sweat. People ask, why do you sweat so much? I say, I'm a hot-blooded youngster. Why don't we sweat, sir? Maybe cold-blooded crocodiles. I don't know. But don't worry about that. Look, bats are not blind. Okay, they can see very clearly. That's how educated people with PhD send WhatsApp messages. Send this to 10 people, you'll get good luck. They have a degree, but still, look. So in Kannada, if you know Kannada, there's in Kannada say kan kapudi, kan kukudatte, kan kansala. That's a myth. We believed it because somebody told us. We never cross-checked it. Even after all the rigorous integration, differentiation, calculus, all this we studied, accounts, statistics, all this rigorous things we studied, all this logic, inductive, deductive reasoning, but we never cross-checked things that we believed in when we were growing up. Okay, so many myths still remain. And even when we do research, many of these myths seep in, knowingly or unknowingly. What about this? Bulls hate the color?
No.
Don't think it's all negative. I've added some positive also in the middle. I know the rhythm. You get used to the rhythm. So what about bulls hate the color? Red. What do you think? Now everyone's like, he's doing something. We should be quiet. What do you think? Bulls hate the color? Red. Yes or no? No, but don't ask which peer-reviewed academic journal. Don't ask. But we think it's no. How do you know it's no? I asked this in a medical college. No, 99.9 in paper. The photographs will come like police mugshots, like this after second PO. Have you seen? I asked this in a medical college, and they said no. Bulls don't hate the color. Bulls hate the color red. Yes, correct. They hate the color red. How do they know? These are the doctors who are going to open up YouTube and operate us in the future. And they said, yes, bulls hate the color red. I'll tell you how they know. They watched a Kannada movie. That too, male chauvinist Kannada movie. You know, male chauvinist Kannada movie. Purusha Pradhana Kannada Chalana Chitra. Most correct. And what happens in this movie? Heroine goes to fetch water. Hero doesn't go. Heroine goes to fetch water. Unfortunately, she's wearing a red sari. Bull attacks. You don't know where the protagonist will be. Suddenly, he'll appear there, hold the bull by the horn. He'll defeat the bull. Then there will be a song. This is the research evidence. Or 99.9 plus 2 crores believed. Bulls hate the color red. No, bulls don't hate the color red. In fact, bulls don't hate any color because, like all other cattle, bulls are colorblind. They can't see any color. So perception, I mentioned problem of perception. Bulls can't see my trouser, which is black. Look at this. I've kept the evidence. What about this sport then? This is a very cruel sport in Spain called bullfighting. The person standing there is called matador, not our matadors. This person is called matador. And the thing that he's holding is called muleta. The bulls don't attack because of the color of the muleta. The bull attacks because it gets irritated by the movement of the cape and not the color. It's amazing how many people still believe that bulls hate the color red. What about this? How many senses do we have? What, sir? The CMS business school. You're so posh. You're asking us silly questions. How many senses do we have? 5. Very good. Bruce Willis made a movie 6 Sense, so everybody thinks there are 6 senses. If you want to pass UPSC examinations, yes, you have 5 senses. But if you are researchers, it's different. Because UPSC is about how many wheels does a bus have, how many wheels does a car have. You need to know little about a lot of things. That's UPSC. Research, you need to know a lot about one aspect, one question. So you go deeper. Okay, so the idea that we have 5 senses comes from 350 BC. Maybe in the past, someone in India might have also come up with this idea, but we never patented it properly. So just now we go on the television and we scream, Vajra Vaidurya Pushpaka Vimana itto. Naale airport go badangare. Adana hatkಕೊಂಡು. So we don't do research, publish it, and defend criticism. Instead, we go scream on local television, which is not going to help us. If you want to own the idea back, you have to publish it, and then they'll criticize you. Defend the criticism with strong evidence. Then you own the idea back. That's what we have to do. The idea that we have 5 senses actually comes from 350 BC. This guy, Aristotle, his name is everywhere. I won't go into history, otherwise we'll go into classics classes. Every department you'll find him. You go to biology, Aristotle is our father. Go to zoology, Aristotle is our father. I don't know how many children he had, but he's father of many departments. This Aristotle said that we have 5 senses. Then Professor Barry C. Smith came into Cambridge University. He challenged it. When you challenge the obvious, it becomes a great research. When you challenge the obvious things, that's why we call it research. We don't just call it search. Okay. So professor challenged it, and he started a whole department of human senses. He found that there are 22 to 33 senses and still counting. So when I balance myself, which of the 5 senses that he learned in school help you? None. He came up with the sense of equilibrioception. In fact, his research was so profound that he found that there is a medical condition called adipsia. Adipsia is such a medical condition where you can get severely dehydrated. You won't even know that you're dehydrated. You may die. We didn't know this research existed before Barry Smith started his research on wine tasting. That's how he started his research on wine tasting, which is also a department for wedding, by the way. What does your daughter do? She tastes wine, not getting drunk, tasting wine, which is $1 million business, by the way. Big, huge. So how many senses? You believed 5 senses. Professor Smith says 22 to 33 senses. What is the truth? That's why fools are too sure about themselves. Wise people are too full of doubts. You have many questions. If you are skeptical severely, then only good things will get in, appropriate ones. Why have I written brain/mind? If in my research paper, if I write brain, a group of scientists will attack me. If I write only mind, another group of scientists will kill me. So in all my research papers, I've write brain/mind. If you can just remove this in the middle and prove that there is only either only brain or only mind, you will win a Nobel Prize. Tomorrow only you can prove it if you If I ask you a question whether there is mind in the brain or brain in the mind, you can sit here, pull all your hair till evening or tomorrow. You won't find the answer. If you find it, as I said, we'll win the Nobel Prize. We desperately need it. Now, very few in India. Rabindranath Tagore got one. For what? Which movie Rabindranath Tagore acted in? Which movie he made? You know Rabindranath Tagore, the guy with beard? You remember? Bengal from Bengal. What did he write? Gitanjali. Very good. It's a poem. Not a movie, by the way. Not Nagarjuna's movie. C.V. Raman? Not from Commerce. Raman Effect. Fantastic, ma'am. Thank you very much. Raman Effect. By the way, did you know he was from the Department of Commerce? He was an accountant. In free time, he wrote about Raman Effect. I don't know what he was writing when he was busy. In free time, what he wrote, for that he won a Nobel Prize. Okay, Raman Effect. That's interesting. That's interdepartmental study, even before it existed, by the way. Have you heard people saying in Bangalore, I'm Pakka local? Have you heard people saying Pakka? Local, born, brought up, bred, everything here only. Have you heard that? Let's see what research has to say about that. Let us see. Not me, I'm not saying this. 99% of genetics. Have you heard Department of Genetics? Wonderful department. Geneticists claim that all non-Africans today trace their ancestry to a single population emerging from Africa 50,000 to 80,000 years ago. They have pinpointed single migration. So if somebody says, go back to where you come from, where we should go? I'm not saying that. That's what, tomorrow it may change, but as of now, that's where the research stands. Okay. So yeah, there are only 2 hours. If I had more time, I would have questioned so many things that you would have gone thinking, do I really exist? Are they original? For next time. Why I'm saying it like like that. You're not. I know. I know. That's why I'm sent in the school. Because psychology, you've learned all this. That's why we have sent them to school. But parents unfortunately don't say that. They're like, that's where we end it. Okay, no, maps are not maps. Fingerprints are not yours. Sensors are not 5. What is your what is true then? What is it that believe it? That's why it's very important to open your mind before you open your crucial. And after returning to India, I'm seeing anywhere you go in India, nobody says the magic word, I don't know. Nobody says the magic word, I don't know. That's why eye-to-eye contact in the classroom is very important. Otherwise, I'll be talking about Bhagat Singh. She'll be thinking about Hrithik Roshan or Ranbir Kapoor. Or Sachin will be thinking about Disha Patani. There'll be a lot of gaps. It's crucial. Believe me, there are some students in the class when you're teaching, they're like, There are some students who are like, Some other students' eyebrows come together. Do you have a question? Should I repeat it? But there are some other dangerous students in the class. No matter what you teach, they're like, should I give you a different analogy, different example? What I ought to do is quite challenging to them. That's why it's very important. Anywhere you go in India, nobody says, I don't know. Come to Chitradurga, ask who is Obama. They'll tell you Obama was relative. Nobody says, I don't know, which is the beginning of research. It is unbelievable. That's why I don't know. Many of you may not have. How many of you don't know Kannada here? Okay, that's how many of you know Kannada here? Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. If I go to Delhi, within 2 months, they'll teach me Hindi. Otherwise, I'll be like, So you also teach them a little bit of Kannada. Learning new language is not just words. Learning new language, Kannada, it's not just words. It has its own folklore, it has its own culture, it has its own knowledge. So when you learn a new language, it's like learning new perspective. Many Kannada words don't have synonyms in Tamil. Many Tamil words don't have synonyms in English. So you learn a new language, it's a new perspective, new knowledge. So it's important to learn. This is a famous revolutionary in Karnataka called Basavanna. He doesn't come in advertisements. He says, Madi Madi Ketaru Manavillade, Needy Ketaru, Nijavillade, Maduva Nidua, Nijuna Kudika. What is he saying? If you don't talk what you walk and practice what you're teaching, then there'll be a lot of credibility gap. And no amount of things can fill in those things. You have to talk what you walk. If you're a researcher, you have to live like a researcher. Researcher is not just doing PhD. It's a way of life. Just while publishing, you copy paste. Just while publishing, I'll become a researcher. It's like students suddenly speaking in English. If outside they speak in Hindi and Kannada all the time, suddenly you ask you to present them on stage, they come, today, I English, you listen, commit suicide. That's not going to work. Okay, if you're a true engineer, if you really love engineering, when they ask you to cook at home, you should bring out your tools. Because you practice what you're living. That's the kind of that's what Richard Feynman was. That's the kind of people who win Nobel Prizes. That's the kind of people who publish original research because they live it, they breathe it 24/7. Their mind is structured in such a way. Okay? ಪುರುಷ ಪ್ರಧಾನ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ. ನೀವಿನ್ನು ಬಹಳ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. Only 30% in the parliament you people are. We are still ruling the world, sir. Another 50 years another 100 years we only rule because your blood should boil. 1,000 years we never allowed you to come into the classroom. That's for Women's Day only. Only on Women's Day you have to talk all these things. That's why Richard Feynman, one of the greatest scientists and Nobel laureate and a physicist, he said, I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. He is such a crazy person. They used to give him pass to enter NASA. He used to find loopholes to break the security and enter NASA. That's the kind of crazy person he was. No, but people don't want to be called crazy nowadays. Say, no, Sakshat Devi. It's so good. Sakshat Devi. Devranta Manisha. Auratrane kalasbeku. No, we have to be. He wrote a very important book called You Must Be Joking, Mr. Feynman. Must read. If you love research, read that book. You Must Be Joking, Mr. Feynman. You won't write it down? No, sir, I'll remember. It's like your students only. It's like, that's why I ask you to repeat it. When I'm speaking, everyone's like, oh, I know. I also speak like that. If given an opportunity, it's like taking shower at home. You'll be listening to Lata Mangeshkar and S. Janaki. Suddenly, you'll be singing. Suddenly, the power will go. And neighbor will scream, who's the donkey brain? When we'll actually understand your voice. All the time, you focus on methods and methodology. What about all the underlying assumptions? Only after you publish, then the paper will be taken print out and given to students. Read this paper, find loopholes. Then an intelligent student will mark it up with all the things that are mentioned here. What are the assumptions the person, the researcher has taken up? How many assumptions are there? It is not clarified. Like building castles in the cloud. Foundation yaak sir namige navu hange building kattivi. Katri. Irri olage enaಗುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. That's why there are different departments which I was talking about today. This I've already discussed. What is knowledge according to you? You have to define it. What according to you is knowledge? There are different positions for this. I'll show you that also. You can think about it and pick and choose. Sir, this looks good. I'll pick not like that. What it says, what it actually means, and what it does. Then all these things I mentioned. What is empiricism? Observable data, empirical evidence. Many times you heard people talk about evidence. Observable data is empirical evidence. What is induction? Even while writing research paper, we use inductive argument, deductive argument, abductive argument, argument by analogy, or reduction to absurdity, we also call it. Induction. I have cells, plants have cells. So I go on to, and there can be lunar and so specific to generalization and generalization to specific. Okay. What is parsimony? Occam's razor. If something can be explained in a simpler manner, you should not overcomplicate it. Is Occam's razor. I'll give an example for this. I'll tell you something in English now. You should tell me what it means. It's a very posh college. Ready? There is some difficulty in justifiably applying to it. The fourth of the epithets that you applied in your statement, insofar as the precise correlation between the information you communicate the meaning of the whole sentence is I'm lying. That's all. The whole sentence means I am lying. But you thought, oh my God, so profound. He speaks English so beautifully. No, I just dragged things so much that you felt it was something so profound. It means something simple. That's why in your research, the more simple it is, the more you can build upon it. Any entrepreneurial theory for that matter, any OP theory, organizational behavioral theory, the more simpler the initial theory, the more you can build upon it like a pyramid. If the initial theory is too complicated, and many people do it, I'll find synonyms. I'll find the most complicated word. Nobody should understand it. Then it will be published easily. Sorry to say, that won't happen. Okay, because the editors who are sitting there would have been well versed with the language. Okay, so they'll understand what you're trying to do here. You're just trying to find complicated words to publish. That won't work. What is demarcation problem? Our last bench students are very naughty here. Notorious. Demarcation problem. Do you know what is demarcation problem? No problem. You can't say we have never been introduced to these things. Remember, I could have just come here, stood there in the place. I could have come here in a very nice way, taken the bouquet and stood here. My dear fellow researchers, I'm very happy to be here. Your parents have worked very hard to send you here. I could have done, then sir would be sleeping at the back, snoring. I didn't want that. That's why I want you to understand these concepts. That's why I'm moving around. Demarcation problem. See how difficult it is here also. Do you understand? 3 departments trying to understand human brain / mind. Which are they? Cognitive neurosciences, psychology, and philosophy of mind. 3 departments trying to scale the same mountain. Okay, from different perspectives. You go to psychologists. Psychologists say, come, sit. Oh, you got angry today. What happened? Oh, you slapped your husband. How do you feel now? Do you feel better? No, you want to hit him again? Okay. What do you feel when you got angry? How do you feel? They wrote it down. Explain, tell me, express your emotions. I'll counsel you, the psychologist will. You go to you go to cognitive neuroscientist. Psychology is bullology. Psychology is not at all science. You cut up on the brain, you see neurons firing, fMRI scans you should do. That's real science. You go to philosophy of mind, both psychologists and cognitive scientists are innocent. You have to do inductive, deductive reasoning and develop deeper hypotheses. It's philosophy of mind. It's all about mind. All three departments fighting with each other to understand the same brain/mind, but we are taking baby steps. But there are departments coming in. AI, machine learning, deep learning. How deep are we? How deep are we? I'll tell you how deep we are. We don't know the difference between brain/mind. We are not able to prove it still. That's how deep we are. But if you go to engineering colleges, there are new departments. Computer science is a different department. AI, machine learning, deep learning is a different department. I asked the question, why different departments? More intake. Intake is more, so we start different departments. But the same algorithms. Okay, we are working with the same algorithms, hoping that algorithms will start learning. Algorithms will start learning. It's not like BMW speaking to you. Hi, how can I help you? You want me to take something? You look drunk. Shall I turn the car off? It's not like that. It's not like car talking to you. Free will problem we are not being able to solve. To enter AI and machine learning. What is free will problem? How many of you came here by choice? How many of you came here by chance? Choice. Very good. How many of you came here by chance? Oh, fair enough. That's nice. My question is for people who said they came here by choice. If your father would have been Dhirubhai Ambani or Tata, would you make the same choices? So basically what you're saying is, if your parents would have, if your economic constraints would have not been there, if your geographical location would have been different, your choices would have been different. So basically you're saying, my parents' choices had an impact on my choice. In research, we call it, in research, they ask you a very simple question. Do you live in a deterministic world or do you have free will? If you prove that you did things with your own choice, if you prove it, you will win a easy. If you can find solution for free will problem, you can make a machine think. Okay, but we have Alan Turing, a famous scientist, started this question: can machines think? He wrote a small research paper on which the whole department starts. He says, to ask a question whether machines can think is meaningless to deserve discussion. It's like asking whether submarines can swim. Can submarines swim? Birds fly, airplanes fly. You understand the subtle nuances that researchers are looking into to find some breakthroughs? What Alan Turing is saying is, even if your algorithm can start thinking in the future, you and I may not know it because our cognitive abilities are not capable enough to comprehend it. A rat machine learning AI is. Okay, sir, naughty boy. What is falsification? Falsification is like pack of cards. You pull one card, the whole theory collapses. That's falsification. If you want to falsify, it has happened in the history. Great scientists were proven wrong. They just pulled one card and the whole theory collapses. Theories which were considered really great were suddenly collapsed. It's like Chanda Kochhar going to prison. Because they were management gurus. Their pictures used to be everywhere. Suddenly ICICI. I don't have to go through in detail. When we talk about business ethics, we come into that. Paradigm shifts, I've already explained how paradigm shifts happen. Corporal punishments in one example for that. I'll give you another example. How children learn language. How children learn language? Through parents. Very good. By looking at parents. Fantastic. Anything else? Environment. Lovely. Observing and listening. Fantastic. Anything else?
True friends.
True friends. YouTube. What else? Okay. I haven't brought this slide, but I thought I'll give you this example anyway. Children don't learn. The idea was 60s and 50s was children learn language like this: repeating, imitating, listening, observing. All this theory is called behaviorism. What is it called? Behaviorism. B.F. Skinner was the principal proponent of behaviorism. They assumed that children learn from the environment. Okay, so we teachers also took that and said children are like vessel and we are like people who fill the vessel and send it. Then we realized it's a leaky vessel. Further research was needed. And then what happened? Professor Noam Chomsky, a young MIT graduate, came there and he questioned B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner was worshipped. Scientists achieve something, we start worshipping them instead of questioning them. It's like when I go to colleges and ask, what did Abdul Kalam discover? People say missile. You mean to say before he came, there was no missile? How did we go to the moon? Running? Even before people went to the moon, how did? Unbelievable. You ask this question anywhere, man. His photo will be everywhere. You ask him, what did he actually discover? Missile man. Outlook is more important than look. Outlook is more important than everybody knows Dr. Abdul Kalam, but when you ask what did he discover, nobody knows. This is very interesting. Okay, as researchers, we should know. So, you go home and look it up. Okay, so children learn language by repeating, imitating. We thought. Then Chomsky came and wrote a 600-word book review to B.F. Skinner's famous book, Verbal Behavior. Okay, he challenged B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner's students were very upset. Chomsky said children don't learn from the environment. They have genetically predetermined abilities to acquire elementary linguistic principles. To learn home language, their brain is hardwired, he said. Why, sir? Not home language, sir. Mother tongue. No longer called mother tongue in research because mother speaks Malayalam, father speaks Tamil. What is mother tongue? Whatever mother speaks is mother tongue. We don't say that in research, we call it home language. So we believed it, but Chomsky challenged. So as soon as Chomsky challenged and said that they have genetically predetermined abilities to acquire linguistic principles, children don't learn language, they acquire linguistic abilities, he said. As soon as he said that Chicago University brought a chimpanzee, they tried to teach language to chimpanzee, prove Chomsky wrong. And chimpanzee was named Chimpsky to taunt Chomsky. Chimpanzee was eating with fork and knife, but it failed to learn language in spite of all the environment provided to it. And Chomsky wrote his first book, Syntactic Structures, where we realized we don't just learn from repeating, imitating, observing. We have predetermined abilities to learn, to acquire language. I'll give you an example for this. Europeans looted everything. They looted people also. That's why Africans ended up in USA. When these black people were working as slaves in plantations, they didn't have common lingua franca. So they were speaking pidgin, P-I-D-G-I-N. Pidgin, it's called pidgin, not pidgin. Don't use Kannada and Hindi on English. Don't stress. English is spoken at the tip of the tongue. Tip of the tongue. Okay. Tip of the tip of the tongue. Don't stress English the way. Otherwise, it'll be like going, coming. In fact, I heard downstairs somebody say, I told you no. What is it? I told you no. Question tags there. Couldn't I? Shouldn't I? Instead, I told you no. It's not there. Okay. Tip of the tongue. T is different. T is different. T, tip. Okay. T, different. Okay. Okay. And now I'm telling, tomorrow students will repeat it. Okay, they'll note how many times. They'll repeat it. Yeah, because you keep using those. Nobel Prize. 6. So, how do children learn language now? You believe we learn by parents. We learn by repeating. What do research says? Research says we learn because we have genetically predetermined abilities. Now you go to any linguistics department. Nobody says whether it is innate or not. The research is how much is innate. In fact, now we are questioning whether children have genetically predetermined moral codes. Moral? Okay. Moral codes, which is very interesting. So now your whole perspective looking towards children should be different. Because it's different now. Things have changed now. Please remember those things. A paradigm shift is an example. Best example is Chomsky challenging B.F. Skinner. From behaviorism, we moved to cognitivism. And why I'm telling this? Because you are having an international conference. Someone will ask you, what is automata theory? Chomsky's research in linguistics of zeros and ones. He wanted to learn simple languages. So he studied zeros and ones. That's why he put the foundation for AI and machine learning. From linguistics, computer science department was born out of automata theory. The whole AI and machine learning is just filling the boxes. You look at automata theory, we are just trying to fill those boxes. Okay, look it up. These are interesting and very important. Then there is modern philosophy also, educational philosophy, political philosophy. Sir, I hate politics. No, you can't hate politics. Whether you like it or not, you're already in it. how wealth ought to be redistributed is studied in political philosophy. The best book for this is John Rawls's Theory of Justice. Even while making decisions, we use it. John Rawls's book, Theory of Justice, and also Distributive Justice. We use it for every decision making. There are different theories. I won't go through all those things in detail, but it is important for us to remember. We always talk about quantitative and qualitative aspects. People in politics want quantitative research, more funding for quantitative research because they need numbers in 5 years before the election comes up. But if we don't have good qualitative aspects of research, will lack on a lot of different aspects. Just quantity isn't enough. I'm telling you, every philosophy has its own perspective. Anything, you take anything. For example, perennialism. Perennialism will have its own ontological position, its own epistemological position, as well as axiological position as well. I was talking about arguments. Deductive, inductive, we know. Did we know that Sherlock Holmes, who was in arts, who wrote Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, gave a major contribution to research. We call it absurdity. If we eliminate everything probable, whatever remains, how improbable has to. So that's also an argument that we research methodology and methods which we with this. These are all the positions that you can take up when you pursue your research. They'll ask you, there is a war going on out there. They'll ask you, are you an empiricist? Are you a rationalist? So to see what is a rationalist is my research. This author's argument is implausible. Okay, then you have validity, claim, fact, opinion, argument, and assumptions. Okay, if you're making an assumption, so you have to make it clear in your writing that I'm making an assumption based on so and so. Okay. This, remember about the onion which we were talking about. You start with the things that I mentioned here, then you go in. In the end, comes the data collection. That's the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg is very easy, but unfortunately, the captain of the Titanic never realized how deep the iceberg goes. Otherwise, we could have saved. Very good. This you remember experience? No.
Yeah.
As researchers, don't give answers suddenly. Think, take some time, think. All bachelors are unmarried. True by definition. Should I go and ask every bachelor? Your bachelor is unmarried? No. True by definition. All mathematical facts are true by definition. That's how Immanuel Kant, a famous philosopher, wrote the first book, Prolegomena to Future Metaphysics. Metaphysics is an important department, which says even when you're doing physics, even when you're talking physics, you're already into metaphysics. They'll ask you this question. Can you imagine anything beyond space and time? Spend all your time here as much as possible. Anything you can think of, you will never imagine anything beyond space and time. So Immanuel Kant raised this question. Even when you're talking about physics, you're already action. Next time some politician comes here to light a lamp and says, "Makkale, you knowledge beluskobeku." Next time, ask them, which knowledge should I develop, sir? Analytic a priori knowledge, analytic a posteriori, Synthetic operator, synthetic opposite, which knowledge should I develop? They'll stop coming to light the lamp. But let me stay in Vidhan Saudha, they'll take. So, even in knowledge, there are so many bifurcations. Okay? So there is so much in research. It seems so much, but once you fall in love with it, it's very easy. If a boy is in love with a girl, should I tell Sachin sir what color rose to give? No, they'll find out of syllabus. Even if it is out of syllabus, they'll find out. If you are in love with research, if you pursue it unconditionally, you'll find different aspects. Class all this will be there. In spite of all this, if you're a true researcher, you'll find a way. I think you look at your research problem and say, "Main fir bhi tumko chahunga." Just to break the myth for the younger ones, I'll tell you, you will never find a perfect person in your whole life. You will never. Just so that you fall in love with your research. Only your subjects will stay with you forever. Okay? You'll never find a perfect person. I asked madam from morning, how many times you received message? You will not. Initially. Then it will be difficult. What's that? You see now. Still there is time. Why I'm saying is you become perfect for each other. We are not perfect. That's why our theories are not. Utilitarianism is not perfect. Utilitarianism is not perfect. Deontological ethics is not perfect. And any theories you know, virtue ethics is not perfect. Judges are giving judgment based on theories which are not perfect. Because we are not perfect. Our theories are also not perfect. What is utilitarianism? Maximizing benefit, minimizing losses. You build a flyover, you demolish the houses nearby, give them compensation elsewhere. If you like, imagine everyone in the world like, okay, somebody sideline. It's majoritarian. Okay. Fine. Out to prove it that the whole research paper was a hoax, and the reviewers accepted it without looking at it. Okay, and there's another book he wrote later. It's called Beyond the Hoax. Beyond the Hoax. Two important books must read: Fashionable Nonsense and Beyond the Hoax. So the journals are also not perfect, but they are the best. We are trying to improve. That's how after so many years, suddenly now presented them into the classroom. On the Ishwar Chandra Vidyasar classroom. Otherwise, we wanted them to be in kitchen. But unfortunate. The blood boils. You get very angry. You made us sit on the pedestal. You should hold our collar and pull us down. Still, you're not doing that. Still a long way to go. Start clubs and societies. Feminist clubs and societies. Because why I'm saying all this: First World War men, Second World War men, Third Cold War men, maybe women start ruling the world. It will be different. That's the hope. Maybe we will also start wars, who knows? But the problem is so dire. What is IPCC? Indian Penal Code. Wonderful, sir. Thank you very much. Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change. What is this? This is the United Nations Committee. Because climate change is happening, they have brought scientists from around the world to tackle this one research problem. What this research is called? It's called convergence research. Initially, we had disciplinary, then we had interdisciplinary, then multidisciplinary. Now we call it convergence research. No compartmentalization of knowledge. You have one compelling research problem, you bring evidence from all different departments to tackle that one particular problem. Okay, what is happening? What is this committee? This committee brings in report every year. This year's report says 1.5 degrees. What does it mean? If the global temperature goes above 1.5 degrees, there will be environmental reactions which can't be undone. It's like firing a bullet. You can't bring it back. Okay, so what happens? Polar ice caps melt, permafrost in Siberia melts, sea level rises, intensity of hurricanes and tornadoes increase. First line of defense, farmers will vanish, then obviously we will follow. So United Nations put in their own words, in our words, they say COVID-19 was just a trailer. Picture, Abhi? This syllabus, you know. Very interesting. Okay, so it is actually happening, which is very interesting. That's why we are, otherwise electric industry would have come long ago. What happened? Very interesting. That's why you should read declassified docs. If you want to find real evidence, you should always read declassified parliament documents. In where do you find them? Parliamentary archives. They are available now. If you read newspapers, one news in 10 newspapers, they'll give differently. You can't find facts there. If you want real facts, parliamentary archives, declassified documents. Unbelievable what you find in minutes of meeting is quite fascinating. As I said, in convergence research, the research is driven by specific compelling research problem. As I said, ethics, we have different ethical theories. I won't go through all of them in detail, but it is important. Copy pasting will not help in publishing. Okay, not just Shodh Ganga and turn it in, it's for our own conscience. You have to be extremely careful. I hope this won't become a body language. I'm so excited. Tell me more. It's very important. As I said, we talk body walk. Our excitement, enthusiasm should be in research. Otherwise, the students watch us, and they also develop them. Bell class. They also watch us, and they'll also learn the same thing. Before I move on, we'll do a small activity because we haven't done any activity. Researchers should not have inhibitions. Not what other people think. We should not have. But unfortunately, many researchers do have it. Let's see how many of them do have and how many of them don't have. Mani, can you please come? Please. All right. I'll call you also. Please come. Purusha Pradhana Samaja Beda. Let there be more ladies. Sir, can you please come? How it happens? Imagine what happens in the class. You blue shirt. Me. I wanted to give a lot of other examples. Unfortunately, we have very little time. You want to come? Oh, I love the enthusiasm. That's nice. Sir. My favorite last question. Please come. Sure. Okay, one sitting in front of you, madam. Madam, please come. Very nice, very nice. Wonderful. Quick, quick, chop, chop. Let's go. Sir. Very nice. Experiencing it would be very interesting. Madam. Very nice. Very nice. Lovely. Come. Very nice. Lovely. Okay. Equal. Is it equal? No, not bad. That's nice. Spread out. It's nice. Spread out. Come forward. Okay. Lovely. I'm not going to go through all the details now because body language on all these students, but I always recommend this. Anytime you stand on stage, be shoulder width. If they asked me to talk, as soon as I came here, I started. If I would have been like, hello, good morning. And some people hold the mic and like, your head. Please, down. Now do what I do and not what I tell. Do what I and not what I. Okay. Hands on your ears. Internal marks. Up. Hands on your mouth. I know. When did we learn when did we learn body parts? We learned it in third standard. And now we know complicated theories, simplest things. That's why if you have children close to you, you will become a truly good researchers. Because children ask fundamental questions, which we have stopped asking because we have historic burden. They think they can do anything. We know what we can't do. Okay, so that next one. Next one, what shall we do? We'll do something. We don't want that. It'll be too much fun. Okay, ready. We'll do baby shark. Let us check your inhibition level. Okay, ready? In this department, women are very good. Men are very rigid. They won't move, shake. They won't shake. They have more heart attacks. That's why. Let's go. Let's try how well they do it. Let us see. Madam, shall we? Okay, ready. I want men to shake properly. Give up your inhibitions. Okay. Baby shark. Oh, not bad. That's good. Ready? Baby shark. Sing with me. Baby shark. Sir, you're standing. Come forward, sir. Okay, ready? Once again, quick. Baby shark. Mama. Mama means mother, not mama. Okay, ready? Baby shark, mama shark, papa shark, surfer, surfer saw the shark, surfer saw the shark. What happens? Nice to meet you, will they tell? No, there will be shark attack. When I say shark attack, you should go crazy. Remember going crazy in school when teacher used to be absent? You used to pray that the bomb should fall on the school. Teacher should fall sick. We have forgotten how to go crazy because we are always rigid. Let's go. Let's see how we'll go crazy. Let us check. As soon as they say shark attack, you go crazy. Scream. Scream. Okay. Ready? Not this scream. Baby shark. Mama shark. Sir, what happened? You're macho. I'm not going to move. I'm so macho. Come on. Good sport. Come on. Come on. Ready? Let's go. Come on, come on, let's go, quick. Baby shark, mama shark, papa shark, surfer, surfer, saw the shark, shark attack, not bad. Swim away, swim away. Swim ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ swimming ಒಳಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಿ. Swim, Where's my boat? Where's my board? Surfing shark. Commerce department ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು inhibitions ಅಂದ್ರೆ engineering ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಮೂವೇ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. Okay. Oh, commerce ಅಲ್ಲ man. It's so difficult. All of you turn right. All of you sit. Please sit. Thank you very much. Please sit. All of you turn right. Turn right. No looking back till we tell you. Please come. Very good. No look. No looking back till we tell you. Okay. Just stand in the state. Okay, ready? Let us see what happens to your research when you start. That's it. No looking back. Madam, please come here. No looking back. Turn this side, man. Look towards me. Okay. We'll do a simple version of Chinese whisper right in front of your eyes and find out what happens to your ante kante. You bring it to your staff room and say, ante, what's up message ante? So as true researchers will see what. Okay, if somebody looks back, madam, find out. We'll cut their internal mark. Ready? Okay. Let's start. Let's start. Very good, lovely. Fantastic. Ooh, nice. You made it better. Okay. Wow, very nice, lovely. Next. He doesn't want to use it. Lovely, that's very nice. That's what I call good research. Next, please. Very nice. Very good. Very good. Next, ma'am. Please pass it on. Please, madam, please. Sorry. Wait, sorry. Next. Helen, over there. Please, okay, sir. Oh, very good, sir. Very good. Ma'am, please, pass it on to her. Pass on the message. Madam, please, sir. Next, please. Next, sir. Hello. Sir, please come here, sir. Please come here. Madam, please come here. So just demonstrate what you learned to her. Is that what you started with? Can you just show him what you started with? No, I started with this, 1, 2, 3, and there cannot be a more dramatic example of what things. She's like the United Nations. They do particular research and they publish it. Then it comes to international journalists, national journalists. By the time it ends up in our WhatsApp message, whole information is totally oversimplified and over liquidated. We bring that to our classroom and we say, okay, see, this is very important as researchers for us to understand. There are 10, 15 people here. We are a country of billion people. How information gets oversimplified and over liquidated, and then how we find adulterated evidence to be put into a research paper. Okay, that's very important. Give them a big round of applause for coming here. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. To the slide. Is it there? There it is turned off. Okay, it's there. Okay. A sense of humor is very important. If you want to be good researcher, you should have sense of humor. Otherwise, you'll go mad because you're worried about the problem. You're going in depth. Okay, so having sense of humor makes a big difference. Imagine if I were standing here like, hard work, do not be listening. Okay, so sense of humor is a major defense against minor problem. Just lie in the universe. I have read and agreed to all the terms and conditions. You have never done it. Every time you open up the paper, it comes up, but we have never done it. But we do agree. Okay, this is something that research. That's how advocates thrive on those aspects. Look at the perspective. An engineer, a logician, and a mathematician are on a train in Scotland. They see a black sheep. Oh, look, says the engineer. Sheep in Scotland are black. No, says the logician. There are sheep in Scotland of which at least one is black. No, says the mathematician. There is at least one sheep in Scotland out of which one side appears to be black. 3 departments, 3 different perspectives. Since light travels faster than sound, people may appear brighter till you hear them. Okay, that's why international peer-reviewed academic journals are very important. Teachers should be thick-skinned. Unfortunately, we are in a situation where we have to be really thick-skinned because students are very intelligent and not cheeky. Look at this student. While teaching tenses, teacher asked, "I am beautiful is what tense?" Student replied, "Past." Don't have this. We lose temper, and if they come to know that we lose temper, that's it. They'll play with it. So never lose temper in front of students. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, which is extremely important. See, for example, if you don't mind, can I have a glass of water? Not now, sit. Nobody minds, okay? But if I say water, you know what I mean, but still it's fun. So it's a way it ought to be spoken to thrive. If you lose your temper, this will happen. Look, a teacher lost temper in the classroom and said, "Why are you looking at the monkeys outside when I am here?" We don't want that to happen. Okay, look at this. And language is extremely important. Use your practice every day. The more vocabulary you improve, the better it is. Otherwise, this will end up becoming your leave letter. I'm suffering from fever. Please declare one day holiday. Holiday. Look at this person. My wife is suffering from sickness, and as I am her only husband at home. If you send this to reviewers, they'll say, don't ever write, forget research papers, don't write anything. Okay, look at this. As my mother-in-law is, human beings don't expire. Human beings pass away. Okay, my uncle expired. Oh, really? Did he have a manufacture date and expiry date? Products expire. People pass away. And principal went by the principal passed away. No, passed by. Passed away, you'll send the director somewhere else. As my mother-in-law is expired and I am responsible for it. This is not a leave letter. This is a confessional letter. Sent to prison. Look at this. As I'm studying in this school, I am suffering from headache. Maybe true. The child has written honestly. Maybe. Look, since this person, since I have to go to my village to sell my land along with my wife. Is it a combo offer? Buy one, get one free? Now you know the importance of language. Look at this. Since I have to go to the cremation ground at 10 o'clock, I may not return. This is not a leave letter. This is suicide note. For this also you'll go to prison. Because young people nowadays, you have to really counsel them. Reputed institutions. Control. Reputed institutions, young people are committing suicide. You ask them why? They say, Dil toot gaya. As researchers, we know heart is a pump. It only pumps blood. Dil toot gaya means maybe cardiac arrest. But all our songs are, they take literary freedom to write Dil toot gaya. But we have something called gut brain. So it gets Alzheimer's. But nobody writes gut toot gaya. All the songs are Dil toot gaya. So you tell them, counsel them, and tell them sense organs take the message to the brain, brain/mind interprets. There is nothing called Dil toot gaya. Nothing like it. Because our students, some silly things happen and they're like, what shall I drink, madam? Shall I drink pesticide? Shall I jump off the building? Shall I go in front of a train? Have you been reading newspaper? Young people committing suicides in reputed institutions for these small things. You tell them that you will never find a perfect person. Counsel them. Okay? And whatever you, no matter how perfect they are, again, things will fly at home. Tell them. Okay, man. Next, I don't want young people going there. Look at this. If you think in Hindi, translate in English. If you think in Kannada, translate in Kannada. It will be a tragedy. How can you suddenly when somebody trips? No, that's when you know. Have they really practiced or are they translating? They'll be speaking English. Suddenly, some people have no, sorry. If they with no. If you trip me, I'll say ouch, oops, gosh. It's all about practice. Then you'll get the right words at the right moment. If you keep translating, I'm marrying my daughter. Getting my daughter married is very different than marrying your daughter. Look at this job application. One of my favorite job applications ever. This has a reference to your advertisement calling for a typist and an accountant, male or female, as I'm both. Have been both from past several years. Qualification also in that area. Finally, as researchers, be humble for you're made of earth and be noble for you're made of stars. Same atoms, stars and us, we are all made of same atoms. We are trying to use research evidence, come up with new research evidence to make the world a better place for all earthlings on planet Earth. What are earthlings? All living organisms on planet Earth together are called earthlings. That's what we are doing research for, I believe. So focus on those areas which are very important. For this small research, I have to go through so many research papers, collect evidence from all different aspects. The more we read, the more we bring evidence, the more I can defend my arguments in the classroom. No substitution to reading. No substitution to reading. No shortcuts to reading. Each research paper is 90 to 100 pounds. 1 pound is 100 rupees. So even knowledge is so controlled. Companies like Elsevier, their GDP is more than Apple. That's why open access publishing is more good, ought to be encouraged. .11@ucl.ac.uk. Any research evidence you need, you please ask. It's not just I came, I said something, I went. I'll always be in touch. Anytime you can ask me. But don't send good night, good morning. Even if you don't tell, it'll happen. But ask questions, important ones. So type Sagar A. Chatling, you'll find me on Facebook and Instagram also, Sagar A. Chatling. YouTube, I have my own YouTube channel where all my television interviews and other things are given up. Okay. LinkedIn, improve your LinkedIn, very important, not just for you, for the organization as well, even Twitter. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for regular. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. Please feel free to ask questions. When you ask questions, I can give other analogies as well. Spread the word. I want to reach as many students and faculties as possible. That's the reason I'm in India. Spread the word. Not just actors, encourage teachers also. Questions, please. So now you know what is axiology? Axiology. What do you value? Yeah. What is epistemology? Nature of knowledge. Studies what is knowledge. Then what do we discuss? Ontology. What exists? And different thought experiments in relation to that I have given. Okay. Anything else? Ask. If you have anything you ask, I'll forward it to you. Okay. Anything you need, you ask. I'll forward it. If you have any questions now, you can ask them as well. All right. Hope I didn't make you sleepy.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure we never imagined that we speak in such a way. Now I call Dr. Rupa KV to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Megha ma'am. Good evening, everyone. So as we come to the end of our day one pre-conference workshop on research paper writing, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to each one of you. Thank you, everybody. Great leaders don't tell you what to be done. They show you how it's done. We thank our beloved director, Dr. Dinesh Neelkant, for the constant encouragement and strategic direction towards research learning. Our sincere appreciation to the enthusiastic speaker who told himself as the hot-blooded youngster, A.H. Sagar. Thank you, sir, for sharing your expertise and research insights. Your insightful contribution and engaging discussion has enriched our research workshop, leaving a lasting impression and an impact to all the attendees who are here. Once again, I thank you for your time, dedication, and invaluable contribution. We are truly fortunate to have you here. And coming to what all you spoke, so I just want to have a recap. Publish or perish. Gotilology, historic burden. PhD or PhD. Social network analysis, brain in a what? Behaviorism, research onion. Ethics and research, and what all qualities a researcher should possess. And there is no substitution to learning. Thank you for keeping our research spirits high, sir. Thank you for everything and making this learning a fun, as we all know that when we learn anything with fun, we always remember the content as well as what was the reason why we laughed and learn, so that we can implement that in our near future. So once again, I thank all our attendees whose encouragement and engagement added the depth to the conversations which we had here. We extend our gratitude to the organizing committee. Let's carry forward the knowledge shared here and continue learning in our journey of exploration and research. Thank you for being here. Dear attendees, kindly note the day 2 pre-conference workshop on research paper writing will be held tomorrow. So we have our eminent speaker, Sangeeta Menon, who will be talking on how to improve article acceptance rate and publish quicker. So see you all tomorrow at 2 p.m. sharp, sorry. So do research and find a way. So thank you, everybody. Keep researching, keep learning, and keep growing. Okay, we have our scan for feedback. So kindly scan and then give your feedback. Thank you all. Good day.